Good morning. It's turned out nice again. Hey, how's it going, guys? You all right, yeah? I thought I'd have a cup of tea with you before I get stuck into the things I need to do today. Still a bit sleepy, to be honest with you. And I'm in a different kitchen. Am I confusing? This is my other kitchen at my house. So, and I've just realised up there. Look, can you see it there? Look, there's a little camera up there. Look, I need to keep an eye on what's going on. Make sure that whoever's cooking my tea is doing it correctly. Do you know what? I've just made a cup of tea actually with this real fancy kettle thing I've got. It's not like a traditional kettle that you have to stand there and wait. It's instant hot water. It's really cool. I mean, back in the day, you'd call that your wife or something like that. But it's really good. It's good. I never thought we'd be making videos about kitchens and kettles ever. So yesterday we spoke about this article in the Telegraph, wasn't it? Liverpool owners FSG target media companies to take minority stake, which was written by Sam Wallace and Chris Bascom. And I'm not going to go over that article again with you because I read it out word for word yesterday. So if you look at yesterday's video, you'll be able to get my thoughts on that. Basically, I thought it was. I thought the article was suspicious. For me, I always think, why am I reading this? Who does it benefit? And my opinion, I just feel that article was direct from FSG. They want it out there. I think Rich T, who that's his username, Rich. He's a KopTalk member and he comments on the videos. You should look in the comments for his videos. I think he commented yesterday agreeing with me about that. And that's why that's significant to me is because Rich is involved in, he knows a lot more about this stuff than me, all right? Which wouldn't be very difficult, but that's what he does. And he's got knowledge of that, of the Middle East, business and takeovers and connections to the Dubai royal family, I believe, and the companies that he's I don't want to say too much about that, but he's on the members website as well, providing things on there. Rich T's a really good lad, and in fact before I made this video I wanted to check some of the comments that he'd posted under my videos recently. So if you see Rich T in the comments, you should always, when you watch a video, you should check the comments, right? Because people do add some great contributions. And I think Rich was agreeing with me that this, it sounded like it was that it had come from FSG. And he mentioned Bain Capital as well, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I don't know where to start really, to be honest with you. So yesterday we were linked with this media organisation called Liberty Media. One such contender could be Liberty Media. My Remy's outside. What's he up to? Got to keep an eye on him. Could be. And normally, when this was billed as an exclusive as well, and usually when you get an exclusive, you usually get someone sticking the neck out, don't you? When we're talking about, proper, mainstream media. When I say proper, I mean I don't mean the Daily Star, which some people will call mainstream media. I mean this is a Telegraph, and usually they stick the neck out and say one of those companies is, but this is could. So I think this is it's come from FSG, and it's like, you can't confirm that they are talking to us kind of thing. So that would explain the could. It's just a small, little detail that I pay attention to. And I could be completely wrong anyway. I don't think I am. But so I thought the article came from FSG. I think Sam Wallace was the one responsible for the article, for getting that. And it says, I think the original piece in the Telegraph says Sam Wallace with Chris Bascom, and I think they've bolted Chris Bascom onto it because he's the, Liverpool FC journal, if you like, with it that more people would know and maybe give it a bit of credibility. Because it doesn't take two people to write that article that was in the Telegraph. That is for sure. So basically the whole article I thought was a bit sus, you know. Now that doesn't mean it's not true or anything like that. Quite the opposite. Now, after I made my video yesterday, some Tottenham fans touched base with me, and they were saying, because believe it or not, I get a lot of people that watch my videos and follow my content from other clubs, right? Including Manchester United, Tottenham, Arsenal. And you want to be grateful that you've got me, because a lot of these people say, I wish we had someone like you covering my club. Now, one of those people that contacted me was Peter Byrne. Now, his Twitter username is never lay up short, and he's a really good kid. He's Peter. I consider him a friend, and I've never met Peter before in the real world offline. He's just one of them people that I've connected with online, and he's a Tottenham fan, and I really like him, And he contacted me yesterday, and he was basically, he sent me some stuff to do with Liberty Media and the reports that they've been linked with Tottenham and things like that, and they've got this building this F1 track under the stadium. Blah blah blah, to do with Tottenham. And the point I'm trying to make here, is that Tottenham fans are saying, hang on a minute, we're getting this same sort of drivel as well about Liberty Media. So it sounds to me like Liberty Media are genuinely, looking at maybe investing in a football club or buying a football club. I don't know. It's the early stages of that. I'm sure the Tottenham fans would be able to educate us a little bit more on that front at the moment. I haven't, since yesterday, since we did that video yesterday, I've only been looking at the emails and stuff. Today, when I sit down, I will, I'll have a little bit more of a little mooch around about it all, But basically, the reason I'm telling you this is I don't want you to think that this one group suddenly has an interest in Liverpool Football Club because supporters of other teams are saying, hang on, we've just heard that about our club, all right? So Liberty Media, from what I understand, are quite highly regarded and, have a decent track record, and I'm yet to see anything negative. That might change, after I read a few things today. But it sounds like on initial feedback yesterday, that if you were going to have a minor investor, that maybe they would be, more attractive to us. Even though I'm sure many of you, I don't, want a minor investor. But if you're going to have one, it sounds like these people might be, the best of what's out there. I don't know. Honestly, don't know. People have sent me videos to watch, interviews of the people that run that group. Which again I will watch today and see if I can educate myself a little bit about it. Now, why are we hearing about it? So if they're sniffing around Premier League clubs, right, and they seem to have this thing with Tottenham, to be honest with you, but if maybe the owners, at Fenway have realised that maybe there's an opportunity there. I just genuinely think that the article we saw yesterday came from FSG, and that's, you got to think, why we're reading it, how does it benefit things? And I think what Rich was saying, I can't speak for Rich, but I think he was saying that maybe that's, that we're reading this because it's to do with, let me get this, Bain Capital. Bain Capital is tried to buy Chelsea, and the guy that's there, his name, I can't see this for some reason, my eyes are not very good today. You might have heard of a guy, an American billionaire called Stephen Pagliuca. Pagliuca, is that right? You know what I'm like with names. And he basically, is Bain Capital, from what I understand. Now, there was an article that was published. It was published yesterday, I believe. Yeah, the 1st of March. I don't know. Are we on the 2nd of March now? We are. In the Mirror, okay? But it wasn't published by Dave Maddock, who's who I would be looking at for Liverpool stuff. Obviously, you have people that do finance and stuff like that. But this is actually someone called a sports brand writer, whatever that is, Samuel Mead, all right? I don't pay much attention to a lot of the tabloid stuff, so maybe you know that name. I'm not really sure I do. I might have heard it, I don't know. I'd have to look in my notes. They ran an article saying, Liverpool takeover, American billionaire who failed to buy Chelsea discusses interest. Liverpool owners FSG are looking for fresh investment at Anfield, and American billionaire Stephen Pagliuca, who had an interest in buying Chelsea, weighing up a potential move. He failed with his attempts to buy Chelsea back in the summer, but could now enter the race for Liverpool. He currently owns Italian side Atalanta and NBA franchise Boston Celtics, with his wealth stemming from his role with Bain Capital. He's admitted he considered a move for the Reds around the same time that he made a move for Chelsea and would weigh up the finances before making any bid for the Anfield outfit. I'm not sure I believe that. I've read it wrong. Hang on a minute. It says here that when... I'm trying not to read the entire article to you because I think there's a lot of blurb and stuff you don't really need to know. It's all the obvious stuff. Like explaining who FSG are and stuff like that. It says Liverpool changed hands more than a decade ago with John Henry's FSG group taking charge, right? And enjoying notable success since. Pagliuca admits he considered a move for the Reds around the same time, so it wasn't around the time of Chelsea, because that wouldn't have made sense to me. So, it means, when the club was originally up for sale. And he's quoted as saying, I looked at Liverpool about 15 years ago. Now, he told the Financial Times this, by the way, which, we're talking some serious business now. I looked at Liverpool about 15 years ago when they had that situation. I can't talk specifically about any transactions we are working on because of confidentiality agreements, but obviously we are aware of those transactions. The questions on those transactions in general is what price level do we think is sustainable? Obviously the Chelsea process, which received a record price, has probably motivated folks to try and monetize clubs that they have owned for a long time, and we are certainly in a period where values are being driven up. Anyone who buys a club has to assess the economic opportunity, how much money we have to put in to keep up the quality, as Rafa would say, and what that will cost you. That is what we do in everything we are looking at. Now, Liverpool are poised for a major summer rebuild, blah, blah, blah. And then they're talking about what John Henry said to the Boston Sports Journal, which we've obviously covered. Now, this doesn't come as a surprise to me. So think about this. We had the Telegraph running the piece, if you like, which I think came from FSG, mentioning this media organisation. What's it called? You know what I mean? So many. I need a new tablet. This is so slow. Let me try again. So we had, what date was that? Right, so yesterday, the 1st of March, we had the Telegraph running an exclusive about Liberty Media. Sorry, guys. I really need to make sure that... I like to be very specific with the things I say, and I need to make sure I'm on point with things. And unfortunately, I've got different tabs open. It doesn't matter. Right, so yesterday we had the Telegraph coming out with that article, which I think was planted by FSG, right? Regarding Liberty Media. Later that very same day, we have this, I want to see the original Financial Times article. We have the Financial Times article. What's all this nonsense now? I mean, have you ever tried reading a website these days? You can't... There's that many adverts and rubbish and register this, register that. Have you ever tried visiting KopTalk? There's hardly any adverts on it. Absolute mug I am. I can't be bothered with that. Right, so in the very same day, we've got these two different things coming out. And like Rich alluded to, or I think what Rich might have made quite clear is maybe, he was asking a question that the piece in the Telegraph was to apply pressure to Bain Capital. That's what I think Rich was saying. Read the comments, he'll either correct me or agree with me. There was a reason that we saw the Telegraph piece, and then we're seeing these other bits and pieces come out later. I'm very sorry if I'm confusing myself. So, is there anything in this? I actually think there is, right? Because, and when I say I think there is, first of all, this Liberty Media, right? There's a lot of talk about the future of broadcasting and stuff like that, to do with the games and things, and I'm sure an organisation like that would love to be on board with Liverpool if the deals change at some point where maybe Premier League clubs can sell a season ticket to watch your games, even the 3 p.m.s on a Saturday. All that stuff's got to change. I'm sure you understand the 3 p.m. rule on a Saturday. If you don't, it dates back to I think the 1960s. And I think it was an old Division 3 chairman or something like that back in the day that basically the Saturday 3 p.m. blackout in the UK is so that the small clubs don't suffer, right? Because if it's, even if you're a neutral and you've got Liverpool, Everton, Man U, Man City, Arsenal, Tottenham or something like that, then you might not go and see your local side play, and they desperately need the gate revenues and stuff like that. But obviously things have changed in the last 50, 60, 70 years, whatever it is. So, there's enough money in the game now, in my opinion, for those clubs to be compensated, based maybe on the last 5 years' gate receipts. So if their attendances dive down a bit, then they should be rewarded. Well, not rewarded, but compensated, yeah? So that all needs looking at for a start. And, obviously there's people say there should be a Netflix equivalent Premier League channel, and that the Premier League should cut out the broadcasters and charge, a tenner a month and you can watch what you want. Simon Jordan's a big advocate for that. He's always going on about that if you listen to him, whether you like him or not, and he does talk a lot of sense about it. And, a media company getting involved I think that would be a big thing for them. So you could see why they might be interested in Premier League clubs, for example. Maybe there's nothing on the horizon at the moment, but I think it's something that we're going to see change at some point. Now, you remember Martin Broughton surfaced recently, and as soon as he surfaced and started chipping in, that gave me a nosebleed. I don't know Martin Broughton personally. I've never heard anyone say a bad word about him other than the fans. And maybe he's a really nice guy, and maybe we should be grateful for his involvement in helping the sale, but I'm sure, maybe some people won't thank him for selling to FSG. I don't know. Bottom of the barrel deal at the time it was called, obviously. And it was a very strange period in our history back then. And Broughton was classed as a chairman, wasn't he? Etc., etc. It was just a weird situation. Anyway, he has a book out, which I think was launched in February, which is why we're led to believe, we're hearing from him at the moment. So during those promotional interviews or whatever, he's been talking about, he was involved in these potential takeovers of Chelsea. And then he started talking about Liverpool, and he admits that he had conversations, I think, with the owners or people involved in the process. And he was kind of alluding to, that the club was overvalued, I think. Liverpool was overvalued, and that, these particular investors might be willing to pay a bit more, for a London club or something, because maybe they've already got fancy houses in London and all that. It's the capital, they can do business there and all that. But maybe the northwest of England, even though it's beautiful to us and there's nothing wrong with it, might not be as attractive to a billionaire from America that wants to fly into London. When he said that already got my back up. Do you know what I mean? But I understand it. I understand what he's saying. But he was kind of making out that maybe Liverpool Football Club is, overpriced. That maybe the price is wrong. Maybe if it was the right price, maybe he could bring on board these people, which would be Bain, right? And this chap Pagliuca. Now, there is a video on here. If you are a member of this channel, which you can support me by reading the video description or click on join or whatever. And if it's not available to you, you can join the KopTalk members website. Just go to KopTalk.com, and on the right hand side, there's a member thing. You can get on there and you participate in all these discussions. And we have the videos, the member videos from here are embedded on there, as are the extra podcasts and things like that. And it's just a way of supporting me. But that's not a ploy to get you to support me. Obviously, I want you to support me. That's your decision, whether you can do that or not. But anyway, there's a video on here, which I think is titled FSG's Dinner Date. And so if you are a channel member and you haven't watched that, you need to go back a few weeks and watch that, right? If you are on the members website, the video will be on there as well. But there is, from the 6th of February, in the Executive Lounge, go to the Executive Lounge, then the Club Sale Investment Forum. We have something titled American Dinner Date. And that's posted by someone that is extremely well placed on the inside. I can't say too much on here, but if you're a KopTalk member, you would know who this. Well, you wouldn't know who that person is, but you would know the name. You would know it's someone you can trust, and you'd know it's when this person comments on the members' website, it's when everybody gets quite excited, right? Now, that person posted on the members' website on the 6th of February, and then I think I made a video about it, which is on here and on there, all right, along the same topic. So you can either go and read it or you can watch the video. And what I'm going to do is I can't remember exactly what was posted here. I've got it here in front of me. I'm just going to look at this now and see if there's any, because I don't like when I like something like this, I would put on a private video, which is why it's a members video on here, so it's not public, it's a little bit more private, and I obviously haven't asked if I can talk about this, but I think if it's on here, then it doesn't matter. They're the decisions that I have faced with sometimes, and I just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. So I'm going to go with it and talk to you about this. Maybe I've discussed it anyway, I don't know. I've got a memory like a sieve. Now, so he posted on the 6th of February. I don't know what was happening in the news around then. I've got a feeling that around then, I was probably dissing the Qatar stuff, I think. Specific claims to do with Qatar, not dismissing that Qatar were interested, but I think this was around that period when people were talking quite a lot about Qatar. And he said, right, so there was a dinner date, basically. John Henry and Tom Werner have had dinner with Steve Pagliuca, Bain Capital, right? Jerry Cardinal, he's Redbird, who is the ones that took a chunk of Fenway Sports Group recently, not Liverpool Football Club, some people get mixed up. And there were suggestions that Jerry Cardinal and Redbird, may actually increase their holding. Yeah, that could be an option to them. And there's another couple of names there which I'll leave out of this, and it tells you where they're from. So basically, they all went for dinner. So John Henry and Tom Werner allegedly had dinner with Steve Pagliuca of Bain Capital and Jerry Cardinal of Redbird back in the first week of February. This contributor claims they know when this happened and where. But I don't think that's important. It may be dangerous to go into greater detail. This person is very well placed. That's what I would say. So you can, I'd put my life on it. You know what I mean? So if this person's saying this, then this will be accurate. I can say that they're partners. Now, when he says partners, it doesn't mean business partners. It means partners as in, the missus or whatever floats your boat, were present, which would make this look more of a social event than a business meeting. And maybe it was, right? Because I remember going over that at the time in the video on here. this could be just a total social event. Let's go out for dinner. I'm sure during that point, you know, I mean, they might have been celebrating something. I doubt it. But they might have been talking about, oh, so what happened with Chelsea then? You know, this is what's happening with us and blah, blah, blah. Maybe you wouldn't divulge them secrets. I would assume, this is where we need Rich to step in here, that John Henry and Tom Werner wouldn't provide Pagliuca with specific information as to what's happening with Liverpool Football Club if he might be interested in buying the club. So, I think I'll say club like Rafford and club. Rafford, as Tom Hicks would say. So, see, this is me thinking about it all the time. So, that I'm calling bull on social event. Let's go for dinner, let's have a chin wag. I think there's something in it. And everything that's happened since then with Broughton, these reports now to do with Bain in the Financial Times, his admission, Pagliuca's admission about his interest in Liverpool Football Club, I think it's all related, isn't it, guys? You see, this is what I buzz off stuff like this, because back then I'll have been going, you know, scratching my head and all that. And if you think about it, we've laid that, haven't we? And, you know, them foundations, and we're going through it all, and it's all making sense. We can't prove it, can we? But we can debate it, you know. And this is a difference between moi and these ITK numpties on Twitter that just make outrageous claims. So I like to go through it all with you, and you know, and the members and things, and try and piece it together. You know, which I'll have done back then and said, well, let's see in the future, maybe something will come out on this. And I think it is that, guys. I do think it is that. All right. See, I like it when stuff like this happens. So this person goes on to say there are multiple American groups that are discussing options. Well, I assume that means options with Liverpool, but maybe it means options with other clubs as well. There is interest from, and then he goes on to speak about particular, you know, countries that have been linked with us, but nobody from Fenway or any intermediaries of theirs have had any in-person talks. And if you want to be, you know, if you want to know the countries he's mentioning there, he's mentioning America, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. This applies to US interests too, if, which is underlined, you believe the briefings. Now, when he's talking about briefings, he's not talking about media briefings. Like, you know, when you see that clique of journalists and they all go out with the same stuff all the time, that's when they've been briefed, right? He's talking about briefings because this person is involved in things to do with Liverpool Football Club. Henry and Werner have both commented that their preference is to keep Liverpool under American ownership and to resist advances from other regions. One idea that has been discussed is that any outright American sale would include a small percentage of shares being made available to supporters. You see, that wins people over, I think, stuff like that. So they're not that daft, are they? They feel that supporters groups favour this kind of involvement and may help limit opposition. Back then, this person thinks that Fenway are ready into exit, like, you know, doesn't believe that they would only consider minor investment. And he talks about the manager's views on it all. Frustrations, silence from both sides of the pond, despite Anfield pushing for clarity. So, let me just run this by you again, right? Because I'm not really good at explaining myself. We see the article come out yesterday early, which means that they were waiting to run with that. It went early, right? In the Telegraph, which I think was a deliberate leak. Like, I think FSG wanted that out there. I can't prove that. I've no idea. I'm not an ITK, you know what I'm saying? They'll be able to tell you. So we had that. And then we had Pagliuca coming out, you know, his words being used in an article in the Financial Times, picked up by the Mirror and I'm sure elsewhere, saying, oh yeah, actually I was once interested in Liverpool and I might be again. And he's alluding about the how much it would cost. I don't know if you picked up on his quotes. He was alluding about the cost, which is what Martin Broughton's been saying, and they're working hand in hand. And we've had Martin Broughton say over the last few weeks that, I've been speaking to people about it all, and I've spoke to the owners and, but, Liverpool's maybe a little bit overpriced, which is exactly what Pagliuca said in those comments I was alluding to. So it all fits. And we can go back, because KopTalk's amazing. We can go back to the 6th of February, where we have, without a doubt, one of our best, if not the best, placed sources, and I hate using that term. One of our best friends, if you like, I prefer stuff like that rather than saying, I've got a source and that, you know what I mean? I've got a contact at the club. We've got loads of people at the club and involved directly or through third parties, but I prefer to call them friends. And we've got him, maybe it's a her, on the 6th of February. Maybe you want to go back and go on Google News, put Liverpool FC, 6th of February, change the date, and look for anything earlier that day, because I don't know why this is an evening post that day. See, I check everything. That's what I'll do. I'll go back after I finish this video and I'll look at Google News on the 6th of February and see if there's anything, what's going on around then. Anyway, it all fits. It all fits for Bain Capital. Now, that doesn't mean that Liberty Media sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like a publisher of erotic magazines, Liberty Media. I don't know why, or pole dancers or something like that. Don't know where I've got that from. It doesn't mean that they're not interested. They're obviously sniffing around, other clubs. Maybe, wanting to do a bit of business somewhere along the line. FSG would be aware of that. Maybe FSG have spoken to them. But maybe, like Rich said, maybe this is like a little nudge to Bain Capital, to Steve Pagliuca, that he's not the only one that might be interested. It's all very interesting. I don't know if you found this video interesting. Please let me know. I mean, like, if you watch this vid, are you watching it going, or are you watching it going, yeah, I can see how it's all fallen into place there. What's fallen into place, we don't know. But certainly with that meeting at the beginning of the month, then we got Broughton, the person at the dinner date, we know the people that were there, allegedly there. We've got a great source telling us that. Broughton comes out. We have this article that comes out yesterday out of the blue to do with, media, that would be interested in Premier League stuff and that. But then we've got the Tottenham fans, telling me, we've heard this, we've been hearing this for weeks to do with our own club, and now it's Liverpool, so they're warning me about that, just be careful. Which, at that point, when I was told that, I thought to myself, I wonder if the journalists involved in this, Sam Wallace and Chris Bascom, one of them, right, has maybe seen what's going on with Tottenham and put two and two together and thought of that and just thought, hello, But the article was, I thought, quite, making FSG sound very nice, using the words could rather than are talking to, we will, thanks for the information, we'll make it, obvious that it's could be, no, we don't want to make it sound like you've spoke to us. Bigging up LeBron James, who is the biggest plank going in my, I don't like him at all. I don't like any of this, it doesn't matter, that's a topic for another day. If you like that sport, then fair play to you. I'm not mocking you, maybe he's your hero, that's good, I don't like him. I wish I was a pound behind him. I just think that this is a game that is being played out. And I think FSG have handled it very well, to be honest with you. The fans are frustrated, and I think FSG are pulling a blinder with it all, to be honest, because I do think they would sell if there was an opportunity to sell. I think the club is seen as being overvalued by people that would be interested in buying the club, and it certainly sounds like those that are interested in maybe a small investment are saying it's overvalued as well. I think that those in the Middle East that are extremely quiet at the moment are probably watching what's going on with Manchester United. Their valuation fall, the valuation we're told falls well short of what the Glazers want for it over there. At the end of the day, I find it all extremely sad. We had a game last night. We could be talking about the game. I've not made a video about the game. It was late for me last night. That's why I didn't make a video. Just usually I make a post-match video just saying what's your opinions and stuff like that. But to be honest, I wasn't really excited about the game last night. I think this stuff's got me down a bit recently. And again, I just think that, you know, the whole thing, you know, like just talking about Liverpool Football Club, which is a big deal to many of us, it's just a thing. You know, it's just something else that they might play with or make them more money. And it's sad, really. And I would imagine the Tottenham fans feel like that about their club as well. It's just a sad state of affairs, really. You know, but I'm sure most Liverpool supporters won't care less, you know, who buys into the club or buys the club if the club is successful. And Liberty Media, from what I understand, if you know anything about Liberty Media, please do, you know, comment in the video description, not the video description, in the comment section. Liberty Media, from what people are saying, I don't know if there's anything on the members' website this morning. I've not looked yet. People were speaking quite positively about them, but I don't know anything about Liberty Media. I don't know anything about Bain Capital. I don't know anything about any of these Americans. It's certainly not something that interests me, to be honest. But what I mean is, it doesn't excite me. It interests me because we have to keep an eye on things. But I'm delighted that information was posted on the members' website in the first week of February, because I do think it's linked. And if you were a channel member, go back and watch the video, because I don't even know what I said in that video. I assume I just reviewed what had been posted, but maybe I put something in there about Bain Capital. I certainly would have, in that video, have mentioned, I would assume, the other people that were present at this meeting. Dinner date. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, when I first read these claims about, you know, the women being there, the partners and that at this dinner date, I genuinely did think that was a business meeting, and like, you're coming with us, darling, because if someone takes a photograph of us, they're going to be like that. So we need to make it look like, well, what are you talking about? We're just out for dinner. Because, you know, we've seen, haven't we, photographs from a few years back. Do you remember the Glazers and FSG and things like that? And it's quite, you know, do you know what I mean? So I think that was a deliberate ploy, just to not, you know, maybe confuse, or just to have like, oh, well, we're just out for dinner, no big deal. We meet people all the time. It could be. There was another suggestion as well at the time, actually, because one of the people involved had some other Canadian sports interests, I think, or something like that. There's all sorts of, you know, different permutations as to why. We don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend I know, because I ain't got a clue. But I can place it all together, and I think that with experience and a little bit of knowledge and a lot of common sense, that's what that's all about. So, with Broughton being very vocal about it all, and now this chap from Bain Capital speaking, you know, talking up Liverpool now, you know, by the way, see that, WTF, yeah? Where's the food? With the other, I just think with the other guy talking, it's very telling. It's very telling. But I'll say this, I just thought then when it came into my head, if you're progressing, I don't think you say anything. So the fact that Pagliuca, or whatever he's called, I don't know his name, the fact that he's, you know, name dropping Liverpool and confirming he was once interested in it, in the club, and he's now saying it again, gives me the impression that maybe everything's not going in the direction that he would possibly, you know, would be attractive to him, which is why we're hearing his quotes, right? So that's why I think the Telegraph article came out. That was a part of the game. I think his comments are now part of the game. And he was clearly, I'm not going to go over the quotes again, but he was clearly suggesting there that Liverpool Football Club was too expensive. Now, if Liverpool Football Club was financially viable to him and he thought it was a good price and a good deal, I don't think we'd be hearing him saying, oh yeah, I'm interested in Liverpool Football Club, or I once was, or maybe that's something we could do in any, you know, they always say, like, you know, I was interested in Liverpool many years ago, and when we look at things today, it's not really saying I'm looking at Liverpool today, but that's what he means. And I've looked at Chelsea and things like that. I genuinely think that he wouldn't be mentioning Liverpool if things were going favourable in that direction at the moment. So they've had that initial bite to eat, they've had a chat. Broughton's got involved. And I think it is absolutely I would put my life on it that all of this is connected. But it sounds to me like it's not going well in Bain Capital's favour. They don't like the price. That's just me guessing. I'm not just randomly guessing, forming an opinion based on it all. And they don't like the price, and FSG know that. So we suddenly then see this reasonably warm, quite glowing article about FSG and that media firm, whatever they're called, Liberty, was it? Just as a little nudge out there, That's what I think's going on, guys. So, if you think about it, it is all pointing towards the minor investment options, because I don't know. I don't think this could be a full. But who's saying no? It couldn't be a full takeover. It just sounds like the numbers are not right. So no, I've got to be very clear about that. There is nothing to suggest that this guy would only be interested in a minor investment. So I shouldn't say that really, because maybe they would be interested in a full takeover. I don't know. We can only debate it. We can only debate it. And I think this is a good video. I think this is a good video because I like the way it's all being put together. I think that you guys. Somebody said in the comments recently, too many you guys. Well, how am I supposed to address people that I can't mention everyone by name, can I? Do you know what? There's some absolute numpties on here sometimes. Wasn't a name I recognised, so. What was that? Why did I pick the tablet up? I think it's a good video. Yeah, of course it's a good video. You did it. It's a good video. And you guys need to keep an eye on Steve Pagliuca and Bain Capital. If you want to do some Googling, it's Bain. Bain Capital. Okay, Capital. That's because I'm in Spain, sorry. Steve Pagliuca, Bain Capital. Look at what was said about, if you Google that and put Chelsea maybe, I think you will come up with, what his vision was for Chelsea had they been successful with that bid. So that's going to give you then this is if you can be even bothered. That's then going to give you an idea of what maybe that's how they would see Liverpool. Does that make sense? So if he addressed the fans at some point and said, well, this is what we would do at Chelsea, then I reckon it's going to be the same sort of spiel to do with Liverpool. Yeah. The one thing that I'm not sure about, and I'm sure you guys will be able to point this out in the comments, is when there is a suggestion here on the members' website when we were given this update back in the first week of February. One idea that has been discussed is that any outright American sale would include a small percentage of shares being made available to supporters, and that obviously, and it does mention this, may help limit opposition from supporters groups. Like, who cares about supporters groups? But you know what I mean. We're going to make it look like we're doing the right thing. I think that Liverpool fans would be all over that personally, and I'm just wondering if Pagliuca, Bain Capital, when they tried to buy Chelsea, did they moot that to Chelsea supporters at all? I'm just wondering. Where's that come from? Who's coming up with that idea? Because FFG have never, proposed that at any point. There you go. So, I really enjoyed this video, and I'm going to rip the audio from it as well, I think, and make it available to those of you that support the podcast, because I think there'll be a few people that, that would like to listen to the audio of this when they're out and about doing the thing at work and whatnot. I need to get started on my KopTalk stuff for today. Please read the video description how you can support me. February was a horrendous month and always is revenue-wise each year. It's a real struggle. The last few days, I've been thinking, I'm going to have to do something. You know what I mean? I'm going to have to go and get a real job. But it's March now, so maybe things will start picking up. So if you're in a position to support the channel, please do by becoming a member or a KopTalk VIP member. by going to KopTalk.com. That would put a smile on my face. I'm a bit behind on my emails. I think I've been saying that for weeks now. But I think I'm going to try and get on that today, because some of you have supported me. Let's make KopTalk TV great again. And if you haven't, your name is not in the video description of this and every video going forward for the rest of this year. Please email me, dunk@koptalk.com, just and say, yeah, Dunk, I did, I bought you a beer or whatever on, through PayPal, and can you add my name or whatever. It's very important to me, that I recognise the people that do support me, And for those of you that do, I was thinking about this yesterday. The channel members, the KopTalk members, I've been thinking about, some additional things I want to speak to you about that will be in the more private environment. So if you remember, then you're obviously going to see that when we get round to it. And I did think, to be honest with you, about this video today, making it just for members. But I think it's just such a big deal what's going on. I think it was only yesterday that I said it's been very quiet, hasn't it? And then boom, we've got this Telegraph article, then we've got the Financial Times quotes and the Mirror picking it up, and it's all like, I just think it's such a big deal that all this that we're putting together, and especially the information that's put on the members' website back at the start of February, that I just couldn't not discuss that with all of you today. All right, guys, that's a super long video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Give me a comment. I read every single comment that's posted on here. You don't have to agree with me. The only thing that I ask on here is that, you respect each other. And, anyone that's throwing names around or telling people that they're not real fans or, and I have zero tolerance, right, for anyone that says anything smart to me. So please, before you post, always make sure that if you're making a joke that you put a wink on the end, because I'm sure I'll have kicked people out before if I'm in a bad mood and I just think, is that someone taking them? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm touching me. All this, there shouldn't be censorship and that's absolute rubbish. I ain't got time to, speak to, interact with absolute morons. So anyone that comes on here that tries to be smart with me or any of the people in the comment section, will remove them immediately. We ain't got time for that nonsense. If you want that, go on Twitter, you know what I'm saying? Right, it's time to have another cup of tea. KopTalk podcast. I will update that with the audio from here today. I'm conscious I need to record an episode, but it looks like that'll be tomorrow. And that's it. Yeah. All right, guys. Listen, it's really important that you comment this video if you've managed to watch it in its entirety. Do you think it's all of what I've spoke about there? Do you think all of that's together? I do. And I'm looking forward to Rich T hopefully commenting as well, so keep an eye on the comments. All right, guys, gotta go. See you in a bit. All right.